Here's another lesson from Warren Buffett in his 1957 letter written in the first 2 months of 1958. And what he's stating is, I can definitely say that our portfolio represents a better value at the end of 1957 than it did at the end of 1956. So here's the chart. At the end of 1956, you had this modest sell-off when he still felt that stocks were overvalued. And then at the end of 1957, you're basically about 20% off the peak in early 1956. So just to give you a context of how he thinks about investing, here people would be saying the risk is so much greater because the market is down 20%. And in fact, what Buffett's saying is exactly the opposite. This is due to both generally lower prices and the fact that we've had more time to acquire more substantially undervalued securities, which can only be acquired with patience. Earlier, I mentioned our largest position, which comprised 10 to 20% of the assets in the various partnerships, basically separately managed accounts. In time, I plan to have this represent 20% of the assets of all of the partnerships, but this cannot be hurried. Obviously, during any acquisition period, our primary interest is to have the stock do nothing or decline rather than advance. Therefore, at any given time, the fair proportion of our portfolio may be in the sterile stage. This policy, while requiring patience, should maximize long-term profits. So while you see a lot of people average up, what Buffett's talking about here is averaging down. And as the position moves against him, because he knows the intrinsic value of the company that he's trying to acquire to be a 20% position in his portfolio, he is buying down. And most people would say, oh my goodness, it's made a new low. I better puke out. Why? Because they know the price of everything and the value of nothing.